I am Lara, and I have been married to my husband Ben for almost 10 years. We have a good relationship. Both of us are thriving in our careers and successful in our fields. My husband is an entrepreneur with his own food and beverages company, while I'm a writer at a famous international news and lifestyle publication. I have always thought I was blessed to have a dedicated, hardworking, and caring husband, but I never knew that behind all the perfection that I perceived, there were lies beneath the surface waiting to be revealed. So that, our marriage was never good. I was the only one who thought of that. Perhaps I was delusional for a time, but I am confident that I have overcome that now. So, to begin the story, I will start from the beginning, way before the storm of betrayal and revenge. My life with Ben seemed like a fairy tale. Do you remember the feeling when you talked about love at a young age? The butterflies in the stomach, the sweaty palms, the giddiness inside, the slow-mo scenarios, and the daydreaming, all of that. I experienced all of this while loving my husband. We met in college. We are both from different colleges and departments, but we were both on the student council. We have strong personalities and leadership skills. Perhaps that is why we instantly clicked, because we have the same hobbies and personalities. On top of that, our love blossomed over the years. We married shortly after graduation, and I was convinced we were destined for a lifetime of happiness. Ben was charming, ambitious, and seemingly devoted to our life together. We built our own family. We had 2 kids, and I am so blessed to have them in my life. They were the ones that anchored our relationship. Ben began to build his company out from scratch. I supported him with it while also making my way to the top of the journalism industry's pedestal. I have been Ben's #1 supporter. I was with him through the ups and downs. And when this company finally sealed a high-profile offer, the success skyrocketed. His company became successful and it attracted lots of investors, and the market became interested in our products, leading to instant growth in terms of profit and investments. I also had a fair share of success as the years went by. I got promoted from writer to editor in our publication. I genuinely enjoyed my writing profession. Journalism has always been my passion. For both of us, our life and our children's future are already secured, and I am happy and content with that. I never thought that we would be successful at an early age. I am so grateful that we never gave up. But my seemingly perfect life went upside down as our journey turned unexpectedly when Ben's beloved and successful company, which initially showed immense promising attributes, went bankrupt. My heart shattered as I heard the news. Stocks went low, branches shut down, investors withdrew, and products were sent back to us. I could still remember all the achievements and accomplishments we celebrated, and I could still reminisce the moments when I cheered him on for the brilliant success of his company, believing in his dreams and supporting his endeavors. I never expected that the unpredictable nature of the business world would soon catch up with us this fast. And I could not believe that we are now facing major financial setbacks in the company my husband built. The bankruptcy hit us like a wrecking ball, shattering our once half stability. We had no choice but to force the company to shut down, leaving employees and investors hanging. We don't have any money left, or may I say, we don't have enough to pay them for compensation or even to give the investors back the monetary investments they gave us. So we had no choice but to file a loan with banks and insurance companies. The burden of an $80 million debt loomed over our heads like a dark cloud, threatening to drown us in financial ruin. The weight of it all was crushing, and my husband Ben was consumed by anxiety and despair. He struggled to face the reality of the situation, often retreating into a shell of his former self. So I had no choice but to handle everything on my own. I went to different banks and companies where I could loan money, and after I was able to find the money to pay all employees and investors, I was again left with another issue: how to pay the debt off. Our once comfortable life turned into a constant battle for survival. As an editor in chief of a publishing company, my income alone was insufficient to tackle the colossal debt. Just by thinking about it, I could feel my entire body break down in despair. My husband succumbed to alcohol and smoking. I tried to talk to him about our debts, but he would answer me,
"Make yourself useful. You're my wife. Do something about it."
I wanted to scream back at him and tell him that his company scrambled and not mine. I understand his heartbreak and frustrations, but it is unfair to dump everything on me. But I refused to watch our dreams slip away without a fight, so I took on additional freelance work, working day and night and sacrificing precious moments with my loved ones to pay off the debts. Every waking moment was devoted to finding solutions such as investments, stocks, cryptocurrency, and many more, to keep collecting avenues to generate income and cutting back on expenses. I became an expert in financial planning, learning to squeeze every last drop of our budget to make ends meet. The stress was overwhelming, but I persisted, driven by my love for Ben and our family. But my husband kept on doing nothing. He became so frequent on his phone, and he kept nagging me.
"The bank kept on calling me. I don't have any excuses to tell them. When are we going to pay for it? Can you keep on moving your ass? We need money. Stop slacking off."
I slammed the table out of frustration. Can't you see that I am doing everything I could? I have been contacting people to help us. Maybe if you got the balls to face your mistake, everything would be bearable for all of us. He stood up and slapped me hard in the face. I felt my cheeks numb from the pain. I could not believe he could strike me in the face at that level of intensity. He then grabbed my chin and forced me to look at him.
"You know what? I have a plan. I'll find a rich woman and make her pay for everything. You are useless. Do me a favor. Do something to reclaim my business, or I will leave all of you to suffer."
It felt like a never-ending struggle at times, and I found myself emotionally and physically drained, and his constant insults, abuse, and mistreatments made me think more of burnout. I wanted to give up and let the situation be because it was not my business, and what was the point of helping someone who abused me? But the thought of our children growing up in the shadow of bankruptcy pushed me to keep going. I fought for them, their future, and the lives we envisioned together. As the debts began to pile up, Ben's desperation and stress took a toll on him. He suffered from anxiety and depression, and aside from that, his anger issues became uncontrollable. All of his frustrations were directed at me. May it be physical, attack, or verbal abuse, name it all. I experienced them all. But I never leave him. I still choose to stay and help him with his debts. I became the pillar of strength, holding our lives together while he struggled to stay afloat. I juggled my responsibilities as an editor-in-chief with freelance work, sacrificing my time and energy to help him pay off the mounting debts. And yet again, he would slap me, punch me, and throw insults to my face. But I understood him. I pushed my patience to its limits, and still, amidst the chaos, I became his support pillar. I held him close as he cried, reassuring him that we would find a way out of the darkness. His mental health suffered, and I became his confidant, lending a listening ear and offering comfort in his lowest moments. I believed my unwavering love and understanding would see us through the storm. Call me a martyr or anything, but I want this family to stay together for the sake of our children. Despite the hardships we face and the mistreatments that I endured, I never doubted our love. I believed that together we would overcome any obstacle that life threw our way. But little did I know, behind my back, Ben was engaging in an affair with Rika, a woman who seemingly had no qualms about betraying our marriage, and she is her sexy and seductive secretary. Little did I know that he pushed me away while fighting to save us with deceit. As the debt slowly diminished, I thought we were on the path to recovery, and as soon as I paid all the debts through my hard work, it was during this time that Ben blindsided me with a divorce bombshell. He dared to tell me that he was leaving me for Rika, the very woman he had been cheating on me with. He told me that.
Rika became my solace and comfort during pregnancy, while you had no time for me.
I closed my eyes to contain all of my emotions. No time for you? For God's sake, Ben, I worked my ass out to get you out of debt and keep you away from prison. And while I was doing everything for you, you maltreated me and abused me. And now, after everything I did, you will drop the bomb? Are you insane? He slapped me once again and pulled my hair.
What did you say? I'm insane? I will seriously leave you alone. You are nothing but a pathetic woman. I don't want you in my life.
He pushed me to the ground. I did everything for you.
As you should, because for once you made yourself valuable.
He laughed at me mockingly with every bit of insult in his tone and left me crying. The pain I felt was immeasurable. My trust in him shattered, and the love that I thought was eternal now felt like a cruel illusion. I had no choice but to escape that stupid and abusive relationship. So I signed the divorce papers feeling broken and defeated and watched as they got married a year later. The wounds were still fresh, and I couldn't understand how Ben could callously discard me after everything I had done for him. But I remained silent, holding on to the secret that I had paid off the $80 million debt that had threatened to ruin us under my name and not his. It means I can take back the money anytime and charge the debt again back to his name so that the bank will ask him to pay directly. So even in the depths of my despair, I did not let bitterness consume me. I refused to let their actions define my worth. Instead, I decided to take control of the narratives and ensure they face the consequences of their betrayal. In that dark moment of heartbreak, I made a decision. No longer would I be the victim of their betrayal. I knew the truth had to be revealed and they had to face the consequences of their actions. So I reached out to every person and company to whom Ben owed money, exposing the reality of the situation. I requested that the payments I made be voided and the debts be transferred back to Ben's account. My revenge wasn't driven by a desire to see them suffer, but rather by a longing for justice and closure. They needed to understand the gravity of their actions and the pain they had inflicted upon me. My lawyer and the bank manager told me that Ben and Rika signed up for a joint account, which is perfect. Both of them would pay off the debt. Hence, the two of them will suffer the consequences. As the pieces of my revenge plan fell into place, I found a newfound sense of strength and empowerment. I was no longer the helpless victim. I had taken control of my life and was determined to stand tall in the face of betrayal. The anticipation of their reaction to the revelation fueled my determination, and I knew their humiliation would be my ultimate catharsis. And so, as I watched the trap close around them, I felt a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, and a glimmer of satisfaction. The revenge I sought wasn't solely about their financial ruin. It was about reclaiming my identity, finding closure, and showing them they couldn't destroy me. The stage was set for the final act of my vengeance, where they would face the consequences of their choices. And when the moment came, they would learn that their actions had unleashed a storm they could never have imagined. The storm of humiliation was about to rain down upon them, and there was no shelter from the consequences of their betrayal. When the time for revenge finally came, it wasn't driven by spite or a desire to inflict pain. It was my way of reclaiming my power and showing them that I was not a doormat to be stepped on. I had endured their deceit and humiliation, and now it was their turn to feel the weight of their actions. Ben was so shocked that debt collectors kept bombarding him because he thought he was finally free from his debts. Their panic and regret was palpable as the debts they had once considered were cleared came rushing back like a tidal wave. They were caught off guard, unprepared for the consequences of their actions. The weight of their financial sins was crushing, and I couldn't help but wonder if they felt even a fraction of the pain they had inflicted upon me. Of course, there is no way I will let them get away with that. He tried to reach out to me and begged me to help him with the bills, but I happily declined his offer. You will never fool me again, Ben. Never. This is your debt, and you must pay for it. Make yourself useful for once. So I collected back the $80 million and started a new life with my children as
millionaires.
We rebuilt the company and transferred the ownership to my name. And just as I expected, the company's glory and success were restored. It was back on the scene and is thriving as before. Meanwhile, Ben was just staring at us from afar, regretting his actions. Well, he deserves to suffer the consequences. Ultimately, my revenge was not about vengeance. It was about finding closure and moving forward. I had paid off the debts, shouldered the struggles, and kept our family together through the darkest times. Now I was determined to rise from the ashes and rebuild my life stronger and more resilient than ever. My revenge was merely the final chapter in a tale of survival and triumph against all odds. The revelation of my revenge was a pivotal moment that marked a turning point in my life. As I watched the trap closing in on Ben and Rika, a mix of emotions surged. There was anger for the betrayal, sadness for the lost love, and a glimmer of satisfaction in knowing that justice was being served. But amidst my desire for justice, there was also a tinge of sadness. Despite everything they had done, I couldn't completely shut off the part of me that once loved Ben. I had once believed in the man he presented himself to be, and now I was faced with the harsh reality of who he indeed was. As the dust settled, I chose to focus on my healing. I had taken back control, and in doing so, I rediscovered my strength and self-worth. I refused to be defined by their actions and their toxicity. My children deserved a happy and resilient mother, and that's who I was determined to become. Through therapy and self-reflection, I found the courage to let go of the pain and move forward. I embraced the support of my friends and family who had been my pillars of strength throughout the turmoil. Their love and encouragement helped me see that I was not alone and deserving of a life filled with happiness and fulfillment. In time, the wounds began to heal, and I learned to forgive, not for their sake, but for my own. Holding on to anger and bitterness would only poisoned my heart, and I no longer let them have that power over me. As the months turned into years, life took on a new hue. I thrived as an editor-in-chief, finding solace and purpose in my work. I focused on building a stable and happy life for my children, ensuring they felt love and cherished every step of the way. While I endured immense pain, The experience also taught me invaluable lessons about resilience and self love. I learned to set boundaries and prioritize my well being, no longer willing to tolerate toxic behavior. I surrounded myself with positive influences, fostering relationships that lifted me instead of tearing me down. Through it all, I maintained my dignity, refusing to engage in public drama or mudslinging. My revenge was not about public humiliation but about reclaiming my life and finding my path to happiness. As for Ben and Rika, they faced the consequences of their actions both financially and emotionally. Their relationship, built on deceit and betrayal, faced its trials, and I could only hope that they learned the importance of honesty and integrity in the long run. Life has a way of weaving intricate tapestries, and though the pain they caused me was a dark thread, it was only a part of my journey. The beauty of life lies in its resilience and ability to heal, and I emerged from the storm stronger, wiser, and filled with an unshakable determination to live life on my terms. Ultimately, my revenge was not about destroying them, but freeing myself from the chains of the past. I had emerged from the shadows and stepped into the light, embracing the possibilities ahead. And in that newfound strength and freedom, I found a happiness that was entirely my own, a happiness that no one could ever take away from me.